Welcome back to the shop. I took the hammers that I had on the hook over there and I laid them out so it'd be easier to show them to you. Some are fairly inconsequential, some are interesting, some are really nice, but this is just the extension of that other video that I did to test out my my Wi-Fi and my upload speed and everything, and all of that turned out really well. I was really glad about switching to the fiber optic. But I said that I would give a tour of the rest of the shop, and this is the second half of the hammer selection that I have and I use. So let's get to it. I'll go through it and probably go freehand with the camera just so that you can see them down on the table. And if there's something specific, I'll bring it up and show you. So here we go. I want to start off by just showing you this book, Antique Tool Collector's Guide to Value by Barlow. I've had this probably 30 some odd years. I don't know what the exact date of it is, but the reason that I put it out here is I wanted to show you. I showed in that other video the Cheney hammer that holds the nail, but I wanted to show you how many different types, and this is an incomplete listing of all of the hammers, and this gives value and stuff, but I wanted you to see that there are so many different types and different types of names for them, from watchmakers' hammers to cross-peening hammers that looks like a joiner's hammer, but it's a little different. It's got a flat side here for peening. Let me see if I can find a joiner's hammer. Up in here, you see that that's got a slight bevel to it. And so that's a London style or Exeter style joiner's hammer. At any rate, I just wanted you to see this so much. And if you're thinking of getting into the habit of collecting them, the sky's the limit on what you can find on these. So I've laid these out in groups. These little grouping here are all Estwing hammers, and Estwing is the brand of hammer, and they used to do these leather shank. These are leather rings around a metal shank. The shank of the hammer goes all the way through to the end. And this is a nice medium to small size. It's not the smallest, but and it's an older one with the leather. But they also make this rubberized handle, which are great also. And again, the shank of the hammer goes all the way through. That's so what's wonderful about these Estwings is you can really use them commercially, and very rare to ever wear them out. This is a sheetrock hammer that I've had I don't know how many years, but it has a lot of uses. And in the old days when they first started putting sheetrock on walls after the plaster and over cement and wire lath, or wooden lath and wire lath went away, and they started promoting the use of gypsum board. This edge was cut very sharp so that you could actually scribe the line, then snap the sheetrock with the hammer. This is a nail puller, but it's specifically in this shape and beveled this way that if you don't get a nail right into the proper studding, and or if it's bent as it goes in, you can just pop it out, and you hold the hammer sideways to it and just pop it. This little cutout here, and the purpose of this is when you get sheetrock mud, it comes in a big 5-gallon bucket, and so you can use that to get under the rim and wedge it this way and be able to loosen those plastic covers on those buckets. They're very difficult to get off usually. Now they have some that are easier to open. This is thatched in here, you see, and the reason for that is that what it'll do is when you get the nail in to the right setting, it will dimple the sheetrock just a little bit and leave this little shaped divot which buries the nail deep enough into the sheetrock that when you plaster over it and you fill that hole, it will come out smooth later. And the reason for the checkerboard is that it will tear the paper a little bit, and it helps it grip the plaster that you're working with. At any rate, I used to do that professionally, and which is the only way I'd want to do it today. But this I've been using for years and years and years and years. So these are the Estwings. These are Stanleys up here. and these are light duty, medium to heavy duty. I wouldn't say they're real framers, but this one's extra long, so it gives you a bigger swing. But see, that is not the head of a framer's hammer. A framer's hammer is much larger than that. I'll show you one of those. And then these are judges' mallets. I don't use them at all, but I made this one for Matlock, the TV show, I don't know, around 28 years ago or so, walnut. And the judge used that. This one was a presentation one that I bought years ago, and it has, I've forgotten exactly the name on it of the person, but he was commander of Candlewood Lake something. I'm not sure. It's very hard to read. I took some pictures. Maybe I'll put those up and you can see if you can make that out. But it's a beautiful rosewood mallet, and it comes with a little piece of wood that you put on the judge's bench. It's really a presentation piece. This obviously is the smallest hammer that I have, and most likely by Marks, but that's I don't think it's really has their insignia on it. But this was in a little group of miniature tools, and I keep it in the tool room for display. I very, very rarely use it, because if you're going to use it at all, you're going to use it on a very small project. I should probably apologize now for my sense of humor, but those of you who know me will have already gotten used to it. So I imagine that you guys will let it slide. So the next group are the Lancashire pattern joiner's hammers, and they're right here. I passed over them with that other video, and these were put out by Garrett Wade. This is the larger one, and the next size down, and the smaller one. They're interesting. They're put in, and then these are filled with epoxy. They don't have any brand name as far as who manufactured them, but they were bought from a Garrett Wade catalog, and I use them all the time. I don't use the big one very often because I rarely need that kind of weight. But you see how they're different than that peening, that cross peen, because this is a beveled head this way, getting smaller towards the point. So it's really a joiner's mallet or hammer. So here you can see, this is how a book like this can come in handy. Here you can see that it says Lancashire pattern joiner's hammer, and there you can see an example of it with the tapered head and the cross peening. And so these books really can be quite useful in identifying the different types of hammers that you find. This is a little hammer. It's kind of cute. I inherited it. I don't know if my father made it or not. It's got a maple, I would suspect, handle, very fine, to this little mallet head in a barrel shape. It's got a very fine line around here. You can barely see it, and it has had some little use, but I don't know who would have used it. Maybe my mother with her jewelry, but it's so fragile. It's so fragile that it actually broke the handle at one time, and I re-glued it, but it's no longer safe to use. But it's got a beautiful, beautiful shape to it as far as I'm concerned, and this little mushrooming out here is lovely. And then, of course, what I really like about it is that there's a hand-cut little screw thread here, and this has been tapped, and so very, very fine threads, and it goes in there nice and snugly, and there you have a beautiful little mallet. These three with the bronze heads are 3 reed hammers. These are currently in manufacture now, and you can purchase them. You can probably find them online, and this one here comes without a head on it that you can put your own wooden part or whatever you want in the top of it. I did a video on it, but these, I made Jeff Wachowski, who manufactures these, sent me the 3 different heads, and I made different handles for them as I felt that they could use, and I designed them to the hammers. So anybody can do that. This one here is the one I keep upstairs. It's a nice small little hammer, not terribly valuable of any sort or anything like that, but it's got a really nice handle, and it's a nice, not terribly small size. There are smaller, but it's perfect for keeping upstairs if I need to hang a picture or something like that. And I've owned this one for quite a while. One of my favorites to use. So here are 3 tack hammers that I use. This is the one that I use mostly. It's fairly new, and it has a magnetic head on it here. And then so you would just grab your upholsterer's tack with that magnetic head. You tap it in, then turn around and drive it home. That's the basic use for these. And they found that, I believe it was noted that the split head on one end it helps in making it magnetic, but also it's extremely strong. I don't know how much of that is true. I've never broken one. This is the oldest one that I have. And again, now that's a different configuration. Rather than coming straight down, it's a similar hole to this one, and then it's just slit at the very end. Magnetic, again, just a tack hammer. And then over here, I have some of my claw hammers, and there isn't a great deal of difference in them except for the weights. These are not what I would consider framing hammers by any means, but they're sort of a medium duty. This is True Temper's version. This is a nice tough one, but not a big enough head for doing framing. For like heavy duty framing, using like 16 penny or 20 penny common nails. These are just a little bit too lightweight for that, but it's got a nice handle, and it's very tight head. And then this is another one, an older version, an older one. I couldn't make out the logo on it. This one probably came down from my grandfather. It's seen some use, but the head is still tight, very nice. And this one here, again, what I'd consider a lighter duty, but perfectly good for putting in smaller nails when you need to. Not tiny ones, but you know, it's a good size hammer. And then these are more what I would consider to be framing hammers. These have the fiberglass shafts, and you see the fiberglass shaft is pretty strong, but when it gets a lot of use, really heavy duty use, and you're banging it, dropping it off ladders and everything else, that rubber part on the bottom will tend to break up, and it'll also dry up. And it also, I've noticed, tends to slide up and down sometimes. Sometimes I have to push them back on because the glue or adhesive they used for these just wasn't that good. But typical claw hammers, framing, all of these. And then one of the monsters of that is this really, really heavy duty one. And you can see it's got a checkered head. It's a very heavy duty hammer with the round wedges in there. I couldn't make out any kind of logo, but on the handle here, it does have the maker, and this is called the framer. And let's see if you can see how big that is. If you compare them to, say, some of these regular ones, you can see it comes down much further down. I think it's 18 inches. Not really sure. So that's it. That's the grouping of it. And some of them, I mean, I've used for so long and really, or let other people use them, and they've torn up. I'm usually more careful with other tools, but hammers tend to be neglected sometimes. So there you have it. There's the original mallets and hammers that I showed on the other video. This is my assortment of other ones. Some because I no longer am a professional carpenter in any way, or hanging sheetrock anymore, or even prop master on TV shows. Some have just been around so long and I've never gotten rid of them. Some are newer, like these Reed ones and the Garrett Wade ones, but I don't get rid of them because sooner or later I suspect that I probably will need them. Maybe not that many of them, and I should part with a few of them, but we'll see. This little one is always upstairs. This is the Vaughn, and it's just a great small hammer. It'll give you plenty of force, but not too much. Some of these bigger ones are ridiculous if you're planning on using them in your house for anything, if you're not a professional framer. But this will drive a 20-penny common nail down really fast, and that's the whole trick of being, besides cutting well, measuring well, and knowing how to build, it's having the proper tools to go with the proper work that you're doing. I think I called this one a Stanley, but it's actually a Craftsman. The nice thing about that is that if it ever breaks, you can get a new one, a replacement, so with their lifetime warranties. At any rate, that's it for the hammers, and thanks for coming and seeing them. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you'll subscribe or share this video with other people. And until I see you in the shop again, take care of yourselves and your friends, and maybe your neighbors too.